follows. The committee invited to appear before it at its meeting scheduled to be held on April 2024 at Chimbai's, that case is that being changed, at 10 a.m. The agenda of the meeting will consider the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the County Executive of Kakamega for the financial years 2020-21, 21-22, and the receipt of revenue statement for the financial year 21-22. Can you take a note of the following? 1. The committee requests that you acknowledge the receipt of the invitation by letter to the office of the clerk of the Senate, submitted by email to the address below, on or before 23rd of April. 2. The committee further requests that on or before 23rd April 2024, you submit written responses, including supporting documentation to specific issues raised in said reports of the Auditor and the revenue statement to 1. Relevant Auditor General Regional Hub Office and Office of the Clerk of the Senate by email to the email address below. 3. The committee shall not accept manual responses that are submitted to the Auditor General Regional Hub Office and the committee outside of the set timelines. The committee will also not accept manual responses that are submitted to the Auditor General Regional Hub Office and the committee for the first time on the day of appearance before the committee. 4. The committee requests that on the scheduled day of appearance, you avail to the committee 15 hard copies of the manual responses together with supporting documents for the financial years under review. That is the letter that went on 23rd April 2023. We received soft copy manual responses that sent by email to the clerk of the Senate and committee. This morning, we were expecting 15 hard copies of the same.
And I mean, this morning is what time? Because it is the morning.
The meeting was to start and we agreed with management by 9:30 the document should be here because we are starting our briefings at 9:30 every day. By 9:30 the documents were not here, so the meeting started with the documents.
Governor, this is a conversation that I do not want to be protracted. And as I said, there is, for me, there is a distinction between convenience and professionalism. If it's convenience, these senators, my colleagues, can make a decision that is convenient to them, that is convenient to you, that is convenient to everybody. But if it is a question of professionalism, even I, as a chair, I cannot bend it. In these proceedings, the prosecutor is the Auditor General. And even if you went to court and the prosecutor said he isn't ready, the judge will have no option but to grant an opportunity to the prosecutor to be prepared. My only concern is that the lack of preparedness on the part of the prosecutor has been occasioned by you and your team, such that the blame does not lie on the office of the Auditor General. The blame lies in your hands as a CEO. I was around by about 9:30, and I think I must have spotted you along the corridors of these Bunge Towers. When we started our conversation at 9:30, we expected that at least we'll get an opportunity to see those management responses for us to take a decision on whether we can proceed with them or not. 9:30, they were not there. 10 o'clock, when our meeting was supposed to start formally, they were not there. 10:30, when we requested that you be called, they were not there. We have nothing. There's nothing for us to review, to be able to take a decision on whether to proceed or not. If we had those 15 copies at 9:30, perhaps the members would have gone through to see whether they respond to the issues, and we would have had a conversation with the Auditor General to agree that it's possible to proceed. But in the absence of those responses that you are talking about, as a chair, I am blind. And as a chair, I cannot talk of convenience where I am blind. I think we must now call things the way they are, because the next order I'm going to call you to table your written responses. But if the deliberations have established that that those responses, and if you are to table them, they are improperly before us, then I'll be accused of the standing orders and the procedures of the House. I think we now need to have a conversation that brings closure and gives a way forward on this. Senator Sifuna, you had sought the microphone.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm deeply embarrassed. As you know, in my other capacity, I'm the governor's SG. This is a county that is run by ODM. And basically, governors who have appeared here from my party have brought nothing but pride to us. And the members can bear me witness that documents are presented on time. They are very meticulously prepared. It is very easy to follow the conversation. I am especially concerned, Chair, because I know you follow the national happenings. The ESCC, I don't know if Patrick has joined us. Yes, the ESCC swooped in and went for my deputy party leader, the former governor of Kakamega, alleging certain improprieties there. And I was looking forward to having conversations so I see where these problems stemming from, because this financial year was also a year when Governor Oparanya was in charge of the county of Kakamega. But Governor, I'm very disappointed as USG that even when the responses were ready 7 days ago, just preparing copies of annexures and sending them in time so that the committee can have a look. If you see our agenda here, is we usually have an in-house briefing with the Auditor General, who takes us through the responses you presented. And we identify the issues that we want to focus on, the ones that are clear, the ones that are not clear, the ones that have been resolved, the ones that have not been resolved. In the absence of that exercise, and you know me, I'm a lawyer, I'm not an expert in finances like you. So I need to be guided by the Auditor General, and that's why the Chair is saying that the committee is blind. We depend largely on the Auditor General leading the proceedings of this committee. And in all fairness, if the auditor received the annexures at midnight, I'm the person on this committee who can comfortably say I was awake at midnight. Not because of Chair. It's because here in Nairobi we have a flood situation and we are trying to coordinate responses for our people. So I am deeply disappointed that we cannot proceed. Yesterday, your colleague from Isiolo was here. They brought the documents in time. They were here from 9:30. We finished at 5 p.m. yesterday with the county of Isiolo. So, Governor, you have let me down. And I must say you have also let my party down. Because now, my friends from Kenya Kwanza will be like, Meth is very happy now. Today, he has found something to attack me. I thank you, Chair.
Okay, I think before now we start with labels of red and yellow on the governors, we deal with the issue before us. And members, it is established when the Auditor General has given reasons similar to the reasons given, it is impossible for the Chair to come up with a ruling that is for the convenience of the Chair or the convenience of the client. When circumstances arise like that, Governor, this committee and the Senate must reprimand you, because our instructions in that letter were so clear that the committee was not going to accept any record, any evidence filed after the 23rd. The gentleman sitting to our far left sits in the Parliamentary Budget Office. Parliament, in its wisdom, and copying from the US, copying from the UK House of Commons, established a Parliamentary Budget Office, which is staffed by your professional colleagues. We've got accountants, we've got fiscal analysts, we've got people, we've got economists. Their job is to advise Parliament on financial management and economic issues. The Parliamentary Budget Office have no brief today because they have nothing to waste their brief on. The Auditor General's brief everything, and as Chair, they've given me a 35 plus 23, a 35-page update on the year ended 30th 2021, a 23-page update on the year ended 30th 2022, and a 5-page update on the receipt of revenue statement. The conclusion in the Auditor General's update is that nothing has been resolved to their satisfaction. Even if we were to proceed, it will be academic, because it will be to agree with you, where the Auditor General has not been convinced that evidence has been produced. And that's why I was asking whether you are still a member in good standing, because if it's for respect and honor to the profession, I think you'd be the first person to agree with the office of the Auditor General that under those circumstances it is difficult to proceed. Members, is there any contrary view to the position we find ourselves? Senator Dulo, you've been around longer, and you and I have made these rulings in the past. Any comments?
No, Chair, I think I agree with my colleagues, because there's no way that you can proceed without auditors looking at the documents and also office looking at it. So therefore, it's impossible for us to proceed. I think we had Isiolo here yesterday. Though they had their own challenges, this is worse off than the one of Isiolo. I'm sorry to say that.
Now, you must take that seriously, because Senator Dulo believes that Isiolo is a worse run county. And if she says that Kakamega is worse, then you have formed a very good impression on Senator Dulo. Senator Mariam Omar, I've not gotten your contribution.
Chair, mine is also, I have the same opinion with the members. Mine is, as a Senate committee, we rely on auditors. In finance also, everything is procedures. Money given to you as a governor, there's accountability you do to the auditors. We oversight on that. So if at all the auditors have not gone through the documents, I don't see as to why we can proceed if you bring the document even right now. Because we are not auditors. We are not auditing the documents. It's just we are going through and see where you have satisfied with an auditors and see the way forward after that. So, Chair, I don't see the way we can proceed as a committee.
It has been brought to my attention that the Public Accounts Committee of Kakamega has considered the report of the Auditor General for the 2 financial years ended 30th June 2021 and 30th June 2022. I have a report here which is signed by the Chair, Kevin Mahelo, on 22nd of April 2024. Could you confirm, Chair, whether this has been adopted by the House?
Thank you, Chair. It's true, we formally adopted the 2 reports in the House, and we received the management responses from the Executive on 9th of April this year, and did interrogation and concluded with our report. Thank you.
And the Office of the Auditor General was present? During your consideration?
In our consideration, yes, we had what I will call an informal meeting with them, but they were depending on further documentation from the executive so that they can conclude on the chairman's brief.
How do you have a hearing on the Auditor General's report without the Auditor General leading the concession?
We are with him, Chair, in Kisumu.
You are part of the County Assembly Committee?
Thank you, Chair. We sent a representative from the office who arrived in Kisumu, and ideally we had received that response late. I think 1 or 2 days to the sitting. So our representative went to Kisumu and then informed the committee that we cannot go on because we have not interrogated these responses and supporting documents.
And so your office was not able to lead the conversation?
Yes, Chair, that's true.
Chair, how did you proceed? Because you are considering the report of the Auditor General. It is their report. They are the ones who present the issues. Then the executive responds. Then you make a decision. So how are you able to do this very neat report without the Auditor General leading the conversation?
Chair, I don't want to be part of the controversy between the executive and the Auditor General. But from where we stand as a committee, we had a meeting with the office of the OAG in Kisumu, cleared with them, then concluded our final interrogation with the executive and proceeded on a site visit on various projects, did our report writing and passed the report as required.
Remember, such an exercise should be a tripartite engagement between the county assembly, the executive, and the office of the Auditor General. Can you confirm that it was, that's how the meeting was, that the three parties were in the same room, or you get the auditor separately and the executive separately?
No, Chair, the representative from the auditor from the office of the Auditor General was present.
During the meeting with the executive?
Yes.
Who was reading the findings of the Auditor General?
Him, together with our internal auditor from the county assembly.
OAG? And I think what we must have at the back of minds is that we don't supervise you and we don't direct you. We're just trying to understand how this report was produced. So you may have your standing orders, but there's established tradition, which your presence here is to share those traditions so that there is consistency between what you do and what we do.
Chair, thank you for bringing up tradition. Chair, the chair of PAC, can you guide us in your assembly? Because in our assembly, when documents are processed, there is usually indication that a document has been processed. You will see stamps demonstrating that this was tabled on a certain day, adopted on a certain day, and so on and so forth. Why is your is that the tradition also in Kakamega County?
Chair, there is a forwarding letter that has been shared with the committee secretariat for the same document.
The report itself, you don't demonstrate that
the stamped report was delivered to the executive as required. And
Chair, you're answering the wrong question. When you table government documents or documents from the National Assembly or from the committee, you hand it over to the clerk, he stamps. The clerk then passes it over to the committee, it's forwarded. After that, then the control and auditor general's office. You understand? That is what the question is. Can you explain to us why these papers are just blank? There's no signature, there's no tabling, there's no entry, there's nothing.
Chair, maybe our procedure in Kakamega County might be different from the Senate.
Yes. Chair, what is the tradition?
So our tradition, our committee is established under Standing 87. So the moment a report is ready, is forwarded to the person in charge of committee services, once it's signed fully as required, then it's tabled formally in the county assembly. Actually, after forwarding it to the house business as required, then it's scheduled in house business, tabled in the house officially, which we did, then slotted for motion for debate, of which we did. Once it's done, then a formal letter, a formal folder is done to the executive confirming that the report has formally been adopted by the county assembly. That's what we did.
So, Chair, what we are advising you, because in your absence, if you are not in this meeting to explain those things, your document should be able to speak for itself. It should have a stamp here that the chair can tell, and we can also tell it was tabled on such and such a day. It was, I mean, on the document itself. Because if you just bring me a document like this, and I'm sorry, I'm a very cynical person. I cannot believe people. Because I am sure if I get another, because I've seen reports and things that have been tabled in that same assembly, and they don't look like this. So if the standing orders are different for the PAC committee, you should be telling me.
Order, Chair. Okay. Whereas I respect the contribution by Senator Sifuna, I do not want to put the assembly on the dock, because that was not the reason why you came. In fact, I was going to congratulate you because for effort, I would give you an A. What I'm now trying to find out is the involvement of the Auditor General in that conversation, because if it's a conversation between the Assembly and the Executive, and the OAG is not there, and you see, like here, we've got the OAG, we've got Kinoti from EACC, we've got control of budget, we've got national treasury. It adds value to the conversation. It even helps in coming up with policy or legislative recommendations. It's not just about punishment or finding out who the thieves are. So I was just interested in knowing that when you did the meeting where you went through this report, who else was in the room besides the MCAs and the members of the executive?
Chair, it was the executive, members of the Public Accounts Committee, and a representative from the Office of the Auditor General, the three of us. Of course, the internal audit team from the County Assembly.
Yeah, because I'm getting worried now. I'm getting worried when I listen to Nabuga here that the Auditor General did not come sufficiently prepared for that meeting. And then we face a similar situation at the Senate. So where is the problem? Is the problem the Office of the Auditor General? Is it the client? Because if the same thing happened at the County Assembly, we need to get to the root cause.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry. For that, I would wish to ask the chairman of PAC that there is absolutely no controversy between our office and the executive. Indicated that it doesn't want to engage himself with the controversy between the Office of the Auditor General and the executive. And I want to assure him that there is no controversy whatsoever between the two offices. Number two, I remember that letter came to my desk from the Assembly on a Friday, I think at around 3. One, it didn't have any attachment. And two, we had also not, that letter came inviting us, but we had not had a chance to interrogate the client who was going to be interrogating the executive. So that we get, actually when a response is sent to the Assembly, it's supposed to be copied to us, so that we look at it independently and go through it with the executive. That did not happen. So that was a Friday at 3. Then documentation came to office at 6:15. I remember very well, in the evening. Everyone else had traveled, but I was informed there is that response. So I had to call an officer over the weekend to go and represent our office, but also indicate that we are not able to move forward with the interrogation because the response came late, 3. The attachments came at 6:15, and it was a Friday. So the officer was supposed to be there on a Monday, if my memory serves me well. And he went and came back and delivered the message. He may have sat there, fine. He may have sat through, but I cannot say that we went there prepared. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, please, make sure your team respects your profession. Your profession is the ISPAC-related one. Your occupation is politics. Unless you want to say your profession now is politics. I believe your occupation is politics, but your profession is a fellow of the Institute of Accountants. If this conversation was happening when you are still chair or a council member of the Institute, I believe you would agree with us that there is need to insist on high professional and ethical standards when it comes to this exercise. As a politician, you might be interested in convenience, but as a professional, we must go back to the basics. The Senate cannot be the prosecutor and the judge. The same way the County Assembly cannot be the prosecutor and the judge. The prosecutor is the OAG. The Senate or the County Assembly sits in a quasi-judicial form. And Chairman, you may want to go back and review, but the House has already adopted your report. But going forward, you may want to view that tripartite arrangement. It is mandatory in any audit sitting. It cannot be two parties, the executive and assembly, in the absence of the Auditor General who raised the issues. I think that is a tradition, not just in Kenya, but in all Westminster-style parliamentary systems, and even the presidential systems. The Auditor General who did the audit leads the conversation, the executive responds, then Parliament takes judicial notice and makes judicial decisions. Let's not do things just to tick a box that there was a meeting. And I think if we were to ignore the Auditor General's concerns now, then Senate would be in an exercise in futility. I was with the Office of the Auditor General in Mombasa this weekend, where they were doing their annual strategic planning. And they want Parliament and County Assembly to adhere to those professional standards. We are not accountants, perhaps Senator Mariam Omar is, but the rest of us are from diverse professions. But we'll do our bit to ensure that we maintain the integrity of the accountancy profession, because we believe that the Office of Auditor General has a capacity. They are bound by certain codes of conduct. They are bound by certain professional responsibilities, which we as politicians cannot ignore, unless we suspect that there could be something malicious going on. Up to now, I am not convinced that there could be malice, but I'm convinced that there's a problem. There must be a problem in terms of communication between your entity and the Office of the Auditor General. We rarely get this kind of situations with other counties, and you must go back and find out where the problem started. Perhaps you might be the problem, because you have said you are reviewing the responses on 25th and 26th, when the window for review and submission had closed on the 23rd. So, if we are sending you back home, go back home and do some serious soul searching on the root cause of this inconvenience that we are now suffering. But definitely the improvement between your entity and your professional colleagues in the Office of the Auditor General needs to improve, to not be antagonistic. Even we as senators, we can choose to be adversarial and we can choose to be antagonistic, but many times we choose to be advisors to the county entity. Let's work on that relationship, and OAG, if there's a specific issue you think is a problem in terms of relationship, because I don't think there's a conflict. Perhaps there could just be some issues in terms of relationship and communication. Lay them on the table. We get an assurance from the governor that they'll be addressed, so that when we have another sitting, we will not spend 2 hours on preliminary issues like we have spent today. Senator Methu, and then allow the Auditor General to cite if there are specific challenges. I'll allow the governor to respond, and then we agree on how to proceed.
I want to give the Honorable Chair that it is not directions that you've given, because I want us to rule out malice in this particular morning, because it is not the relationship between the Auditor General and the governor. The provision of the documents, the 15 copies that we required, 15 of them, has nothing to do with the Auditor General. It has everything to do with the county. It was not done in time. So you not necessarily say that this meeting did not take place just because they did not provide the documents to the Auditor General in time. They also did not bring the documents to the Senate in time. That is, I don't think it is fair then to rule out malice. The documents to the Auditor General were late, the documents to the Senate were late. The only thing that was early was the presence of the even his view of, as you have already put it, he has said in his response that he sat on the 25th and the 26th, but the responses were supposed to get the Senate and the Auditor General on that. So even the governor himself was late to that extent. Then finally, I think it is fair, because the County Assembly has sat with us in the past. It is fair. I don't want to take the position that has been taken by my senior honorable senators on the matter of debate. First of all, it's fair that we first congratulate them that they have not come before their past. We struggle with this question every time county assemblies come here. Some have never even looked at 2019, 2020, but to the extent that you've been able to pass a report is something that we need to commend you for. The only issue that you must borrow, and you must borrow heavily from because you're coming here, is that there's no one time that you to, you are the judges. There's no one time that you have be able to be fair if you meet the client without the prosecutor. The report is the Auditor General. Mind the Auditor General, it's not about the absolute just coming. It is a representative helping you in ensuring that they do your work. By the way, just one point I want to make, and you know it, on an issue that the Auditor General has flagged that the county executive has sufficiently addressed, we don't look at it. Because as a prosecutor, what is it that that issue, we just cross over it?
Yeah, Senator Smith was prepared for this meeting, and he was prepared to talk. So he had to talk even if he was repeating what I'd already said. But that tells me we were ready to proceed. Auditor General, what are the challenges which we must address with the governor so that we do not have a repetition of the same?
For the director makes his comments, allow me to advise the county assembly that it will appear when they prepare the meeting to go to Kisumu, which again Kisumu is away from Kakamega, and you can see the letter came late. We will have expected, even before they went for the report writing, they would have invited our office to attend the sittings at the assembly chambers to interrogate the report of OAG. Then that will have informed our participation to go to Kisumu to do the report writing. You can see the director was away, and then the officer he sent may not have been involved in the interrogation of the report in the committee room in Kakamega. So it is clear the officer who went to Kisumu went unprepared. So
Kisumu was report writing, or it was a hearing?
Which it was interrogation.
It was interrogation?
Yes.
The executive was there?
Yes, because the executive were also engaged in other activities in Kisumu, so we thought it's better if we just proceeded to Kisumu, so that we have a whole meeting together.
Yeah, I'm saying we do not supervise the county assembly. We do not direct the county assembly because you've been elected and you have a mandate on primary oversight. The only thing we encourage you to do is to adopt best practice, because if you do so, the outcomes will be better. And I think our experience with the Office of the Auditor General, if you give them adequate notice, they respond. And the meetings should never be at the convenience of the executive. It must be at the convenience of the three parties involved: the assembly, the OAG, and the executive. So, yeah, Patrick was just responding quickly to that. Anything else?
Chair, you have really summarized the issue, and I'm happy. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So, with regards to the executive?
Thank you, Chair. I want to confirm that we really do not have any problems. The only problem I can cite here is either lack of communication or delayed communication, and then delayed submission of documents or lack thereof. I remember when the letter came out, the invitation letter, I am the one who took the initiative and took phone call, made a phone call to the CEC Finance to initiate the interaction. They are not the ones who called us. So I think that is the only place, that's the only challenge we have. Otherwise, we have no problems with the executive. In previous meetings we have held, we have even sat with the governor. This last one we did not sit with the governor, but in previous meetings I can confirm that we have sat with the governor as much as possible. So I think if that can improve, we have no problem at all, Chair. Thank you.
Governor, for 5 years during the onset of devolution, Kakamega County Executive refused to submit itself to the Senate for this exercise. And the first time the governor Kakamega appeared, I was chair of this committee, and I think that was in 2018. And when the governor appeared, I realized that this is a very useful and eye-opening exercise. Now, the only credit I can give you is that we do not force you to come to the Senate. When we call you, you come. And that is unlike the past. But you are coming here should have value. We should be able to prosecute. The problem of Kakamega cannot be a problem of capacity, because, as I say, it starts at the top. If you've got an FCPA as your governor, then the rest of the things should fall in place. So you have heard what the OAG has talked about. He has said that this time out, you will not engage as you've done in the past. I hope Edwin Sifuna is not keeping you too busy running outside on ODM politics, to the extent where you are now not concentrating on other key important things of your mandate as a governor. Let's get your commitment on the issues that have been raised and on how to engage going forward. Governor.
Thank you, Chair, and honorable members. First, I want to apologize for the inconvenience, because I'm not someone who believes in professionalism, and I want to be on record that it's not about convenience. I know the cause of this delay has been because of poor coordination, but I want to give my commitment. If there's any governor who has taken personal initiative of interrogating all the audit responses, I want to on record that I've been the one. And I've followed up the audits, including the management responses, and of course, going forward, whichever data that you're going to give us, I want to promise the Senate that we want Kakamega to be a model county in terms of setting the pace for purposes of preparing us mostly as a cell administrative. I think we're obsessed with making sure that as much as detailed as possible, and forgot about the deadline, the timelines. So we can work on the timelines here. I can assure you, we are not going to have this thing repeated again, because I really want, when you bring responses here, there are responses which are detailed enough, and then of course we create a lot of time with our Auditor General, with the prosecutor, just to make sure that they confirm, so that whatever comes to Senate are issues which are open. But the commitment is 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Go on.
Your Excellency, Honorable Chair, I came in bumbling through. Honorable Chair, honorable members of the Senate, Your Excellency, and the delegation, Senate Secretariat, my name is Okio Mtato Koichi, Senator from Busia and a member of this committee. Sort of come in a bit late. It looks like I've missed the juice and you've missed my punches. Kakamega is supposed to be the flagship Western, and you cannot take this. Otherwise, we shall never compete in Kisumu. You see? So this kind of situation whereby all these resources are wasted just because documents were not delivered. There's something that they say, perfect is not the enemy of good. You can't come here and tell us that you are trying to be perfect, therefore you had the good of coming out, so it's defeated because you are trying to be perfect. I think perfect cannot be the enemy of good. Perfect should be an addition to good. So as we say, let Kakamega be a flagship for Western Kenya. There has been the provincial headquarters. At the local level, at the regional level, we expect standards to be set by Kakamega. And I've been thinking during Operanya's time, I know people who say, look at what's happening in Kakamega, look at what's happening in Kakamega. We like that narrative to continue. Although Operanya used to appear before this committee, it's also on record. At least you have done a good thing, you have appeared. So we just hope that, as you say, you have done a detailed response. I love it. And when we are still at it, Chair, allow me to digress a bit. There's something horrible happening in Kakamega just under the nose of the governor. And this is with regards Rostam and mines. The Chinese, Somalis have invaded that place. There's a school, this school for the rescue center is for this. Yeah, the rehabilitation center.
Which one? Shikutsa?
Yes, you know, for these children who have got mental illness, some disability. If you go there, back up, some dormitories surrounded by these miners, and even access, you cannot access very easily. I had to use a lot of force to access the area to see what is happening in. So I don't know how that thing can happen under your watch. Are you aware of it?
Yeah, through your permission, I want to confirm to Senator Omtata that issue of mining is actually a conversation that we are having with the national government, because as you are aware, mining is a function that is largely not devolved. Even issues to do with mining licenses, it's not the county government that issues mining licenses. What we are supposed to be involved is for public participation. We've had issues with some of those fellows. I've been on record saying that there is no way we can have people just coming in because they've gotten a license from the national government, and then they come and set up mining activities. So what we are doing is to make sure that the people coming to do mining, they do proper public participation. But the coordination between the county and the national government must be up to speed. Otherwise, you're going to be blamed, and yet it is national government that's doing these people licenses. Yeah.
Chair, because I'd like to know, I don't think that's the way you get off it, because as the county governor of Kakamega, this is something that's affecting. We have got you're talking about the human rights, the Bill of Rights. Look at the children. I think that 53. These are children being damaged by speculators, prospectors of gold. You have an obligation, you are part of that state that has an obligation to take action to be able to stop it. It's not a question of the mining not being developed, it's a question of human rights. I'm talking about a school being dug up, a rehabilitation center being just dug up by Chinese and Somali prospectors with no concern for the kids. One dormitory has been sent for using iron sheets, and the kids are sleeping there, and these machines are roaring, whatever. It's not an environment where kids can go to school, and especially children with those kind of needs. So I think you have got the capacity of the government of Kakamega to put an end to this in terms of the human rights of those children, and you are the fellow in charge of human rights in Kakamega. It's not a question of the devolved functions. It's a question of the Bill of Rights. I would really request the governor to take action and flush this out until they can be organized, relocate the school if they must mine in that school, have them relocate the school, and then they can do what they want. We cannot put the lives of these children at that kind of risk. That would be my plea to you.
Thank you, Senator Omtata. I think it must go, the submission by Senator Omtata should definitely go on record, because this committee, its mandate is not narrow. Its mandate is very global and broad. But I want to encourage Senator Methu, as a chair of the substantive committee where those issues will fall, just have a conversation with Senator Omtata and see whether the matter can be dealt with through a statement or even a visit, because I have learned never to ignore what Omtata says, and I have also learned to study his moods. Today is in a bad mood. I hope we didn't lose the housing levy case this morning. Yeah, so I think that conversation, Senator Methu, you could help Senator Omtata to push that. You can do it suo moto or he can do a statement, and then the governor can be called upon to deal with that matter specifically. Senator Oka?
I would like to just make a small addendum to the governor. I'm sure that if you down and find out from what he's saying, I'm aware, for example, that in that same school, we have children from Kisii who are actually receiving treatment and rehabilitation. I think you could look at the matter with urgency, sir. Thank you.
Fine. I think there are a lot of things that we can discuss with the governor for Kakamega. And Governor, please, during your tenure, let's clear these audit issues. Get an unqualified opinion so that when you come to the Senate, you are discussing issues of human rights, issues of policy, issues of justice, and all these other big things that the Senate feels more comfortable with. I need to bring this meeting to a close. Patrick, OAG, there must be something important.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I want to bring the attention of this committee that when they appeared before the Senate for the report of 2019-2020, it's a recommendation that they give a statement on the funds transferred to Mia's sugar company, and that response has not come to us. So maybe it's an issue that you may wish to remind the governor.
Yeah, I think it's the responsibility of the county, even though in liaison with the clerk of the Senate, to get a copy of the Hansard so that you are able to capture the issues that directives were given. There was a transfer to Munas, there was some money transferred to West Pokot, and we had also directed that we needed a full breakdown of the expenditure on the stadium. I think those are the three issues that I recall. So, Governor, make sure that you and your officers, you get in touch with the clerk of the Senate to give a transcript of our conversations last time, because we definitely must deal with matters arising from the previous meeting. Let me conclude this way. The County Assembly, we congratulate you for making an effort to look at these things. But we are uncomfortable when you hear you talk about the Senate out there in public sphere, claiming that the Senate is taking away your oversight role. In fact, this committee has proposed that we must strengthen county assemblies further. I have made a proposal. My colleagues have not fully agreed with me, but we have now started a conversation. I made the same proposal when we met with directors from the Office of the Auditor General in Mombasa on Saturday. And my proposal is as follows. Any fund established by county legislation, the oversight should be at the county level. Any fund established by national legislation, the oversight should be by Senate and the County Assembly. Take note, Senate and. Not Senate alone, Senate and the County Assembly. But a fund established by county regulation ideally should be oversighted at the County Assembly level. It makes logic for Governor Fernandez to come to Nairobi to respond to the Auditor General's report on a fund, and then he comes to the Senate with the regulation of the County Assembly. It then looks like the Senate is oversetting the laws and rules passed by the County Assembly. But, Governor, if the Council of Governors are not going to put their minds to this proposal, then we continue with the wild approach where you have to come to Nairobi to talk about the Biashara Fund, those health funds that we established. That is the direction that we have proposed. So, members of County Assembly, be guided accordingly. I do not think that that proposal weakens County Assembly. That proposal ring-fences those things that the County Assembly should do, so that the Senate only gets involved in secondary oversight. I know that your senator had a problem with some utterances that you have made out there. He has registered his apologies if he was present. I know he would have prosecuted that matter, but I think go back home knowing that the Senate does not intend to take anything away from you. The Senate wants to strengthen you. But when we strengthen you, do the right things. An audit hearing must be a tripartite exercise. The Auditor General cannot come as a passenger. The Auditor General is the one who drives the audit hearing, so that you avoid ticking boxes. therefore must adjourn and must give an early date, clerk, so that we close these issues of Kakamega and move on to other things. So the date of next appearance will be communicated, and even as we adjourn, we will meet again on Thursday, the 2nd. The meeting of Thursday, the 2nd, will be hybrid because the senator for Narok had requested that he's away if we could excuse him. But I think wherever he is, he can join the meeting in a hybrid fashion. The meeting is therefore adjourned.
Hybrid is for
him. Okay, it was for the convenience of.